to flourish in your career. I want you to be the one that is seen to be making a difference, and not the woman working behind the scenes, but the one in front and center leading the charge. Today on The Confident Feminine Woman, I am going to share the secret of how to surrender to succeed. I am Nancy Michieli, your mover and shaker, inspiring women to break the glass ceiling to flourish in your career and life. Now, high-performing women are often known to be taking the lion's share of the work. And often, if you're like me, you get this feeling that if I don't do it, who will? And we are fully engaged with that masculine energy of responsibility, of focus, of active and giving. Oh my gosh, that feeling of giving is so good. And being in control. But in the process, we can be overlooked in corporations for some of the great opportunities to stand up as the leaders in our company, to stand up and fill the role that we could if we learn to step into our power and surrender. When we learn to embrace the feminine energy of surrender, we're able to actually make space, space for us to step up and lead both in our work and our personal life. For me, this was one of the most difficult things to learn to do. I like to be in control, and all of my friends, my husband, people I work with know that I love to be in control. And it wasn't until my dance instructor said to me, Nancy, if you and Vasco are going to move further in dance, if you are going to be seen as a couple to watch and become really, really good dancers, I need you to give up control. And I will tell you, oh my gosh, that was just like, what do you mean give up control? I was like really tight and I was really good at control. And it took 8 years of dance lessons before my instructors were able to talk me into this concept of giving up control. And ladies, if you are like me, when you give up control, when you release that energy, there had better be cake and champagne for this process. And so for me, my husband and I had been taking dance, and we had been doing dance for years. We'd studied ballroom, and I absolutely loved it. And what I loved about ballroom was that technical portion of it. It was that ability to know the patterns, know the moves, know them really, really well. But what was happening is I was taking on my husband's duties. I was taking on that role of back leading. Now, ladies, put your hands up. Put your hands up if you have ever danced with your husband or another man and you're like, no, do it this way. No, your foot goes here. No. I'm taking control and not allowing yourself to actually flourish and enjoy the moment, and not allowing your husband to do his role. Often, I think we believe that if we give up control, we lose something. We're not as strong and powerful as we are. And I think it's uncomfortable, or at least was for me, to actually step into that role of using our feminine capabilities to nurture, to grow, to be creative. And so in our dance lessons, my husband and I, we're taking dance, and my instructors were like, Nancy, I want you to give up control. And so I said to them, okay, I will do it on one condition. If I am retiring from giving up control, then I want a really nice cake and I want a bottle of champagne. And I didn't mean that cheap Prosecco. I wanted good champagne. This girl is a trained sommelier, so when we are going to celebrate something, we want champagne. What I learned, though, as I learned to give up control and as we developed through this process, I was able to emulate the story of the dance. I was able to communicate my ability better. But what I realized was more important was that I was stopping my husband from learning the moves. I was preventing him from being able to step into his role. And when you think about that in your career, when you think about that with the people you work in, with and support, are you stopping them from learning how to be the best person that they can be by doing all of the work for them, by controlling it all and being like, you know what, I'll just do that. It is so much faster just for me to do it and get it done with. But what happens is that as we move forward and as we want to progress in our career, we actually stop ourselves. We limit ourselves because we now have too many things on. And I consider this like climbing a mountain. And I want you to visualize this with me. You and your colleagues are climbing that mountain and you're working on it together. But somehow, as you climb that mountain, there are rocks that need to be picked up. There are things that need to be cleared from the path. And as people help to pick them up, they hand them to you. And they go into your backpack and into your backpack. And that backpack gets heavier and heavier and heavier. And as you look up that journey of the mountain, you start to realize that men are passing ahead of you and that other people are moving up that mountain faster. Why is that? Because they are not carrying that big bag of rocks that you have taken off of everybody to do. When you step into the role of a leader and when you learn to surrender and take those rocks and give them to people who are junior and learning, you actually lighten the load, which means you can now take on the opportunity to give direction, to share with others. When I truly started to understand this, I realized that I was able to execute projects better. And as I've moved up the corporation and in the engineering world, I find when I am the least knowledgeable person in the room, and yes, that may sound really weird, I am the least knowledgeable person in the room, I am able to do my role in leading and facilitating people better. I am able to actually just listen and ask silly questions that inspire creativity on my team. And why is that? Because I am not holding this backpack and trying to do everything for my team. I'm able to actually be more effective in my role as a leader. And I am able to step up and move up the organizational chain because I am not trying to do everything for everyone. As a woman, I'm curious to know, how much work are you taking on in the organization? How often, when the boss says, I need something done, do you put your hand up and be the first to volunteer to do the work? Or how often does your boss or supervisor go, you know what? Sally is super reliable. She is a really, really good, reliable person. We're just going to give her more and more things so that she will keep producing. But the more we take on, the more we do, the more it limits us in our ability to move forward. So I want you to take a look at your workload. I want you to take a look at all of the things that you are currently doing for the organization. And I want you to go, do I need to do it? Is there someone else in this organization who can take that activity? And that may mean that you need to spend a little bit of time using the feminine energy of nurture and create that person. And it may feel like, oh my gosh, this is so much extra work to do that. But spending a little bit of time nurturing someone to take on those tasks and then surrendering it to them frees you up to have space, and the space that you need to achieve more, to do more, to show up and be able to give more to your company. My personal experience is that when I learned to surrender all of the little things that held me back, the low value activities that held me back, I was able to move up the chain. I was able to be present to facilitate people. Because as I learned to nurture and facilitate and train others, I was seen more in a leadership role. I was seen more as this woman who could help move the organization forward and take on larger and larger roles. As a project manager, I have said to you that I love to be the person with the least amount of knowledge in the room. Part of the reason as well is I don't get in the way of my staff when they are technically trying to do things, because I don't actually understand what they do, and I am okay with that. And I have saved companies millions of dollars by being okay with not knowing the answer to everything, with learning how to trust the people who work for me and under me. And the more you can do that, the more you're willing to actually step out from doing all the work behind the scenes and releasing and surrendering and moving through that discomfort to step into the role of being the leader, to helping facilitate people and help teach them and develop them, you will succeed more in your career. So I want you this week to take a look and go, what is one thing? What is one thing that is currently on my plate of things to do that if I gave that to someone else and taught them how to do it, that would free me up to take on more leadership and challenging roles? So if this was really useful to you, I am so excited. My name is Nancy Michieli, and I want to say thank you for sticking with me through this little conversation. If you are seeking more insights on how to become a confident feminine woman, how to break through that glass ceiling, then join me in my Confident Feminine Woman in Facebook group, where we engage with some incredible movers and shakers to be part of this conversation. So ciao for now, and remember that you need to show up as your fun, flirty, fabulous, confident feminine woman so that you are able to have a bigger impact on the world. Cheers.